Greetings, I am Rob Chapman. Hope you're feeling fantastic and having a great day during this isolated random plague. Recently, I was put in a position where I genuinely had to pick kind of a desert island rig. I'll explain really briefly why and then get into the rig that I picked. I've talked about desert island rigs for years with Lee. You know, what would you take if you needed to go somewhere, or what would you leave in storage, you know, what's important, what would you bring with you. So being put in that position for real was a kind of an interesting analysis of my gear and what was important to me. My family made the decision to move to Malta for a bit months and months ago. In fact, we were due to move over here on sort of the 1st of June when our tenancy ran out back in England in a house that we were renting. The reason being, we own an apartment in Malta, my wife is Maltese, my kids are half Maltese, we have family, it's hot, they have beer and barbecue. What's not to like? So we were due to move here anyway, but with the current plague outside, we decided to move earlier while we still could. So I was suddenly put into a position where I had to think, what am I going to bring with me? Before I'd had months to make a decision, and suddenly I didn't have a lot of time. Now luckily I have an amazing tour manager called Max, and Max packed down my house and put all my gear in storage and organised one shipment for me of things that I needed, and some bits I brought over in a bag with me. So here's a list of the basic bits that I bought, and then I'll show you the guitars that I choose. The 4 guitars that were my desert island pieces. The rest is currently in storage, and some of it may be shipped over later on. So I bought my Apollo X4. The Apollo X4 is an incredible mic pre. It's just, if you want to record 4 mics worth of stuff, get an Apollo X4. Yeah, they're kind of pricey, but they're really, really, really good. I bought a tube screamer because I knew I'd be coming to Corner House Studios, doing some work. There's a whole bunch of cool amplifiers, and a tube screamer is a very ubiquitous, it's a normal pedal that you can put in front of a thing, you know exactly what it's going to do. I bought a Very Thing. I'm very familiar with the Very Thing. It does a load of other things that the tube screamer doesn't do. It's a little bit heavier sounding, and it's just a great all-round pedal for me. I bought a wah pedal, but I bought the mini wah because in my opinion, and it may be, I'm sure it's psychosomatic, I think it sounds better than the big wah pedal. I don't know whether that's just me going crazy. Actually, Luke here thinks the same thing. Bought my laptop, obviously, so I can record with Logic. Bought a couple of microphones. I got a Rode up here to record my speech, and I got an SM7B that I whacked down at the cab, although obviously there are microphones here that I could use, but they're useful to have at home. Boss very kindly months and months ago shipped a Katana 100 watt 1x12 combo to my apartment. So I had a Katana at the apartment. I bought a load of picks with me, loads of the new gauges of Ernie ball Paradigm strings just to experiment with, because I kind of thought, if I'm going to be isolated and locked down, I might as well experiment with picks and kind of see strings, and see what's new and exciting. And I like experimenting with tunings. I have this open G thing that I do where I drop down a tone, the E and the A string, so that it's an open chord, but then the bottom of the guitar is standard for playing lead. Well, I've written a number of Clockwork Wolf Company tracks using this tuning, and I hadn't quite found the right gauge of strings for it, so with a bit of experimentation, I found a hybrid set that works. Anyway, I needed some guitars. On the plane with my kids and my wife, I bought 6 bags of just stuff, so I couldn't bring guitars with me then. I had already previously flown over an ML1 Pro-Modern and left it at my apartment, and I have a Yamaha Pacifica, which is one of the best affordable guitars, in my opinion, on the market, and I've also got a PRS S2 semi-hollow in Egyptian gold, which is a beautiful guitar that I bought on a whim when I got bored one day in Malta. Got it from Olimpus Music in Malta, great store. But I needed my guitars from England. I wanted to bring over 4 guitars. So, guitar number 1 is this. This is the first ever production model ML1 that Chapman Guitars manufactured. I then did a whole load of modifications to it following the lead of my dearly departed friend Tom from the band Fields of the Nephilim, who sliced off the top of his ML1 because previously it looked like that. And I then added a bunch of beautiful DiMarzio pickups. I got a Mojo, a Cruiser, and a Chopper. I'll be honest, I got the Chopper because it sounded like Chappers at the time, but I really like it. Had it wired so that they're also split, and this is such a cool configuration of pickups. I love it. I'll probably never change it in this guitar. Yeah, other than that, it's just a stock ML1. Currently going into, I love that I've got these random bits of gear I can use. A very vintage Fender Twin. On the floor, I've got a Maltese copy of a Dirty Shirley pedal for 60 euros, which is really great sounding. I've got my Tube Screamer, I've got a wah pedal. I was using the Line 6 M5 for reverb when I was going through this Bogner a couple of days ago, but obviously the Twin has reverb built in. And I've got a Nux phaser that I'm not really feeling, so I'm probably not going to use it. So here's how this guitar sounds through the Twin. Should I wish to engage the filth pedal, custom made in Malta, if I add the Tube Screamer on top of that, it sounds ridiculous. I don't really like that pedal, but anyway, great guitar. Now, be still. I think the Twin has a little bit of a valve, that the power valves are gradually dying. So it sounds incredible, but at some point it's going to go, and then that'll be it, it'll be gone. So that's guitar number one. I got it because I'm so used to playing it. I've played it for so many years, like 11 years. It is like a comfortable piece of furniture. I know everything about it. It's the guitar I know I can depend on in a crisis. So here it is, number one. Number 2 is an ML1 Standard Modern. And this is the guitar that, I just love it. It's the cheapest guitar that Chapman Guitars makes. I recorded the latest Monkey Lord album with it, Chromatic Aberration. And it just has a thing, I can't explain it really. There's something about this guitar that I love, especially in middle position with the tone knob pulled out with lots of volume and high gain. It has a singing, harmonic, resonant feel to it, especially with my RD1 amplifier. I love this guitar. It was so great on that recording, and I'm writing more Monkey Lord stuff for an album for next year. And so I brought it with me because I wanted as much as possible to be able to recreate the tone by doing a DI and then sending it to the studio in England, and then they can reamp it and all that kind of stuff. So I bought it because I recorded with it before, loved the sound, and I wanted to be able to recreate some of those tones alongside some other guitars as well. Other than that, it's just a stock ML1 Modern Standard. Fairly affordable and incredibly reliable, which I think is kind of the theme of what I'm going for. It's reliability, things that I know I can trust that are just going to work. Let's take a look at guitar number 3. Oh man, everything about this guitar is just incredible. Recently acquired from Sahana Guitars in Nepal, Kathmandu in Nepal. They reached out, they made me this guitar, and I love it entirely. It is one of the best guitars I have ever owned, and because it is my new toy, I couldn't bear to be apart from it. So I had it shipped over on a pallet with the other 3 guitars. It is kind of unique in my collection in as far as it being a hardtail with a single pickup and a single volume control. Less is more. If I learned anything from Phil X touring with him, it's that the less stuff you have involved in the signal, more often than not, the better it sounds. And this sounds phenomenal. I love what it does. I love the simplicity. I love the materials with the laurel and the ash, all Himalayan timbers. It's just, I mean, look at it as well. Look at it. It's just stunning. And it's got a really lovely, bright, open, cheerful character. So this is definitely going to feature on Monkey Lord's new album, and I'm glad that I had it shipped over and it survived a trip from Kathmandu to England and then from England to Malta. Let's put on the tubing screamer as well and see what the 2 are like with this. guitar, ML1 Pro-X, 10th anniversary ML1. Because it's kind of a new toy for me, it's really special because it commemorates 10 years of Chapman guitars. I love that it's the original HSS kind of legacy layout of pickups that we worked on with Chapman, and it's got a giant good old brass block in the trem. I've got this set floating because actually Luke, who works and owns the studio, is going to be using this guitar on TV soon. But I normally have the bridge set flat to the body in kind of hardtail because I prefer hardtail guitars because I drop tune a lot. I love the way this feels to play. You've got to try one. The neck is like liquefied butter. It is. It's so easy to play, and it's beautiful with the roasted bird's eye, you know, the poplar burl. I love that you can see the burl all the way through the top. Again, it's a guitar that I trust, that I love because it's new, it's rock solid, it's a really well made, beautiful guitar that is gonna see me through, you know, some time in Malta trying to get creative and write some music. That's it. That's my 4 guitars. Had them whacked over on a pallet, and I'm glad they arrived in one piece unscathed. Have an amazing day. Take it easy, and see you soon. Bye.